Hi, it's Hamid Grinage with BHD Mason McDuffie Real Estate in Oakland, and I just want to talk a little bit about a buyer's agent and what it means for someone trying to purchase real estate to use a buyer's agent and how important it is. So one of the biggest reasons, I'll start with one thing that a lot of people ask who aren't familiar with the real estate process, and that's how much does it cost me to be represented by a buyer's agent? And the answer is zero, donut. In real estate transactions, both agents, buyer's agent and seller's agent, are paid by the seller. The seller of the property is paying commission, and that commission is being paid to the listing agent, and that listing agent is giving half of that commission to the buyer's agent who brings the buyer to the transaction. So there is absolutely no reason why someone interested in purchasing real estate should not be using their own buyer's agent. If they have an agent they're not comfortable with, then that means they just need to find another agent, not that they shouldn't use one. There's absolutely no benefit to not using an agent to purchase real estate. So one thing people often say, well, I'd like to talk to the listing agent. They feel that maybe the listing agent will offer them some advantage that a buyer's agent can't. And this may or may not be true. In my experience, most of the time this isn't true. You have to keep in mind that the listing agent's main duty is to their client, who is the seller. They have a fiduciary duty to get that seller the most amount of money they can for that seller's property. And by representing you as a buyer in the same transaction, they typically are not going to be doing that fiduciary job for their seller. It's not that it doesn't happen. It's not that it's illegal. There's perfectly nothing wrong with it. I think in 8 years I've done one transaction where I represented the buyer and the seller, and it was only because that buyer that I represented as well happened to have the best offer out of the offers that were received. So if that buyer that I represented didn't have the highest offer, I would not have represented them. I would have had to inform my seller that we have another offer which is higher, and that would have been the buyer that won, and I would not have been able to represent that client in the same transaction. So that's what it means to be a fiduciary to your client, to put all else aside and put your client's interest, number one, above your own, above anyone else's. The interest is the client's interest, not your interest. So it's the same thing with a buyer's agent. So if I'm your agent representing you, you have my commitment to do the best I can, to respond to you as promptly as I can, to show you as many properties as you need to see until you find that right property, not to try to rush you into something or talk up on a property because I want to get you into contract. My job is to show you as many homes as you'd like to see until you find the right home. So with that said, feel free to visit my website, www.oaklandhomespecialist.com. You can always call me directly if you like at 510-384-9424. If you have any questions about real estate, I'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.